All right. Welcome inside the war room. We are live. UFC Perth is in the books. And what a way to close out a card. Carlos Prates just absolutely dismantled Jack Della Maddalena to the point where it wasn't even a fight. It was a statement. Quillan Salkilld showed out in the co-main. Honestly, pretty great card top to bottom out of Australia. Chris, what do you think about the card overall, first of all?
Prelims were trash. I'll be honest.
Bad. Yeah, it had its
bad. I wish I went to bed and woke up for the main card. I would have been happy if I did that. But yeah, it wasn't terrible. I was just a little upset that I priced myself into staying up all night. But yeah, the main card definitely delivered. I think that we had some great performances. Obviously, you mentioned Carlos Prates, one of the most dominant performances in the biggest spot in his career, to be completely honest. Quillan Salkilld, another great performance. He's showing us that he is as legit as it gets. I think we knew that coming in, but, taking on a guy like Benny Dariush, put the career decline aside and everything, he's still a great fighter. I mean, he has all the intangibles that you need, especially in the grappling department. And we saw Quillan navigate that and get it done in the first round, albeit. But yeah, I mean, a few heartaches. Our guy Tai Tuivasa got utterly dominated by Louis Sutherland. That was not fun to see. But yeah, I mean, no complaints. I think that it was definitely a good card for Perth, Australia. I feel like it usually delivers there, especially with all the hometown fighters. And I feel like they deserve to have a card happen at the proper time, in their local time. So as UFC fans, I think that we can, give one or two cards to where it's actually happening across the world rather than them fighting at 5 a.m. So I think that was probably nice for the fans there. A nice little break.
For sure. Bad for us. I went to bed at 11 and I woke up at 3. So I got like 4 hours of sleep, but I was probably awake for the next 24 hours. So that kind of cooked me. But hey, if you guys are in here in the stream at any point, make sure you like up the stream, not the scream. Support us. Comment and chat what you thought about the card or any of the fights we talked about. Follow the socials also down below, and I'll address the new setup. I finally got a desk in my room.
Yeah,
about 5 months into living here, I finally got a desk. So that's new, and it lights up too. So it's really cool. It's really cool. But I can't wait to discuss this card though. Let's start off with the first fight on the prelims. Cody Steele with a heel hook submission on Dom Marfan. Dom Marfan, bro, what were you doing? You had a chance to get back to your feet, and instead you decided to test your leg lock game against Cody Steele, who is a no-gi specialist, a combat jiu-jitsu level grappler. That is not the move. Steele gets the leg entanglement going, and it's over. Easy work. And the thing is, Marfan kind of initiated the scramble himself. Like, he was trying to go after Steele's leg, and Steele just said, cool, I'll take that, and finished it. Get back to your feet, man. You're not getting subbed on the feet. Steele looked sharp, though. He shot a takedown early, got on top, controlled for a serious chunk of time, which is a different look from that wild jiu-jitsu Justin Gaethje style he debuted with against Rongju. He's mixing it up now, fighting smarter. The question is, what's the UFC's plan with him? He's 31 years old, so they probably don't have time to slow build this thing. I could see a guy like Kai Kamaka next. Or if they really want to test him early on, maybe they throw him the loser of a recently announced fight, Mateusz Camilo and Nazem Sadikov, which is official for UFC Baku. Perhaps the loser of that fight goes against Cody Steele, and they can basically say, hey, let's see if you can handle elite wrestling. Either way, Cody Steele is a good prospect. He has high-level jiu-jitsu, but we kind of knew that already.
Yeah, definitely. Great job blocking up that heel hook by Cody Steele. And you mentioned it. I have no idea what Dom Marfan was trying to accomplish in that scramble. The scramble looked great. It was very entertaining to watch, and he was actually rolling pretty well. A lot better than I expected when I saw it happening. But yeah, Cody Steele is not a guy that you want to roll with. Beautiful entry on the takedown to get Don Marfan to the ground. And then Don Marfan actually was able to flip position and he wound up on top. And then the scramble happened. And I just don't think the urgency or honestly even respect was there from Don Marfan. He obviously felt comfortable being in that position with Cody Steele, and Cody Steele is a very good grappler. So I obviously he showed it in that little spurt of time, but yeah, I think it was a pretty solid performance from Cody Steele, a guy that is tough. And like you said, the fight against Rangju was not really Cody Steele style. I think he just went out there trying to be a fun, entertaining fighter. It worked. It was fight of the night at UFC 312, but I don't think that's where he really thrives. I think he's a guy that should do exactly what he did again on Saturday morning. He went in there and he dominated. But yeah, a guy like maybe Mateus Camilo or Sadikov could benefit Cody Steele. Another guy I was looking at, which would be a very interesting fight, I was looking at someone like Francis Marshall.
Wow,
I think
that would be a big test for Cody Steele.
I think that would be a big test. Francis Marshall's a solid grappler in his own right. He's also a pretty good striker. And he did that against Lucas Brennan last week, and we saw the full tool set that Francis Marshall brings. I think that a fight against Cody Steele could be a good test, and we could really, see where he's at in his career, especially being 31. I feel like he might need a little push to just, get him into the flow of fighting tougher competition. But yeah, I would really like to see that fight, and he wouldn't have to wait. They could book that very soon. Francis Marshall took little to no damage against Lucas Brennan. So yeah, that was a guy that I was eyeing, but I also like your matchmake. Yo, what's up, bro? Listen to Shriek on the radio. That's fire, bro.
Hey, I hope Stanford treated you well, brother. Thanks for tapping in, bro. I appreciate you. But yeah, Cody Steele, very, very impressive win. Got it done decisively, but Don Marfan had a very bad game plan coming in, and really came down to that. All right, Jonathan McKelliff versus Temba Garimbo. Chris, this was too close for comfort, man. It was a split decision.
Yeah. I could actually see the split decision. I mean, I could see both sides. Garimbo did have more damage in the first round. It wasn't wildly, like there wasn't a wide margin of damage, but he was landing more when they were on the feet for the first 3 minutes or so. Those leg kicks, he was eating up Mikhailiv's leg. That was bad. Mikhailov was kind of just walking in like a zombie, and that was one of the things I noted on him coming in, is that he's not a great striker. It's very, it's very just baseline. Comes in, throws a 1-2. He is powerful. He is able to wing some overhands, wild hooks, just throw straight down the middle. But Garimbo was definitely picking him apart on the feet for the first half of that round. Mikhailov lands the takedown, gets Garimbo to the ground, and he was working. It was about 2 minutes of control time in the first round, and clearly enough to steal the round on two judges' scorecards. But I can see the side where Garimbo wins that, because, I mean, damage is the number one criteria. And, when it comes to judging, it gets very inconsistent. Some judges factor in control time and takedowns more. Others favor damage. I honestly think that if this fight was in Las Vegas or, a city where damage does happen to be the number one criteria, I could see Garimbo winning this fight. I really can. But definitely a nice job by Mikhailov to bounce back. Obviously, the second round, he was fairly dominant. And then Garimbo in the third round, he kind of fell apart. He did. Mikhailov came on very strong, was able to hurt Garimbo multiple times. But yeah, those first two rounds were definitely up for grabs. I think a little closer than we would have liked to see from Mikhailov. He's still pretty raw at 10-1. Garimbo definitely a little more seasoned, but I think it was definitely a better performance from Garimbo than his last time out against Jeremiah Wells. I mean, the grappling wasn't a question. It was if he can hang on the feet. Obviously, the cardio tank did occur as it usually does with Temba Garimbo, but Yeah, it was interesting. I think Mikhailov did a good job of just sticking it out and really just powering through.
I don't know. Personally, I don't think it should have been a split. I feel like if they gave this to Garimbo, I felt like Mikhailov would have been robbed. And honestly, against Temba Garimbo, that would have been a terrible look for a prospect with his kind of upside. Round one, I thought Mikhailov did enough, but Garimbo was throwing some wild right hands. He was making it a real dogfight. I agree. Round two was all Garimbo, though. He out-wrestled Mikhailov, dominated from top position, really exposed some holes in his game in that second round. Mikhailov managed to scramble out and survive, but he clearly lost that round. Round three is where Mikhailov reminded everyone why he has hype. I think that was his best round of the fight. He rocked Garimbo a couple of times. He got his striking going. That is the version of him people want to see. I thought round 1 and 3 were enough, and thank God we were in Australia where they didn't steal it from him. But I do agree with you. There are real concerns here. He is young at 27, so there's time. But I do think he could eventually get exposed if the matchmaking jumps too fast. Something, I don't know, something like Chris Curtis feels right for where he's at. Maybe the winner of Chaos Williams and Nikolai Veretennikov too. Not a blowout performance, but it was a decent enough W to keep building.
Yeah, I actually like that Veretennikov matchup. Chris Curtis, I feel like Chris Curtis would be the one to expose Jonathan Mikhailov. So I could get behind that too, just because of the veteran savvy and IQ that Chris Curtis brings. He would really push Mikhailov into deep waters. But yeah, I mean, for a guy that like we just kind of laid out, he's pretty raw. Like, we need to see more from him. You know what? I'll get behind that Chris Curtis matchup. I like that. That's a real litmus test for him. If he can beat Chris Curtis, I think the level of concern drops significantly for me. But yeah, he needs to put it all together and definitely improve in the striking game. It's lackluster. He is strong and does wing those crazy punches, and he can connect, but you need to be a little more calculated on the feet. And I think he just capitalized on Garimbo's cardio decreasing significantly throughout the fight.
And obviously part of the Curtis prediction is dependent on whether he goes back up to 185 or he stays at 170. I think he would stay at 170.
I think he'll stay at 170.
But yeah, Mikhailov and Curtis would be quite a fight. Quite a fight. I think that reeks of an Apex matchup, but I think they would make it happen. Speaking of the Apex, banish this guy to the Apex. Wes Schultz. Party time comes through. And honestly, thank God, because if Wes Schultz had lost to a 35-year-old making his debut, the man might have had to go back to school for another degree. And he literally said in his post-fight interview he's paying off his student loans with this win. So congrats, man. But let's call it what it was. Johnston fumbled this fight badly. He is a Muay Thai champion who spent 2 rounds looking like a grappler, wrestle bullying Schultz around without doing much damage, got himself up 2 rounds to 0, and then in round 3 got caught in a guillotine, fought out of it, got caught in another one, and that was the fight. Wes Schultz keeps his UFC career alive, and he was ecstatic, rightfully so, good for him. And with Contender Series coming up in a few months, I think some prospects are going to be eyeing Schultz as a matchup they would love. There's nothing about Wes Schultz that impressed me in this fight, just like with any Wes Schultz fight for real. I think he could get a really weird fight next. What if they did Wes Schultz versus Torres Finney?
I would love that. That would be hilariously awful.
I would think Torres Finney or, a Contender Series winner on a quick turnaround, just something like that. He's not going to be fighting up for real. Hey, John, what's up, man?
What's up, John?
Welcome to the stream, brother. Good to see you, dude. How'd you enjoy the card, man? Hope you were, I don't know what time zone you're in, but hopefully you're able to get up for it. But yeah, man, Wes Schultz, still not impressed at all.
Wes Schultz versus Torres Finney would be hilarious. I would bet the over on the amount of blast double legs that would be shot in that fight. I Johnson fumbled this so bad. He really did. I mean, get up and strike with him. Wes Schultz is not a good striker at all. He looks uncomfortable on the feet. And, I understand the weight bully grappling because Ben Johnston looked massive. He looked like an absolute behemoth. in the octagon with Wes Schultz. And Wes Schultz is not a small guy. He's 6'1". But yeah, I just don't understand the timidness to stand and strike. John, you were confident on Prates. Good pick, man. You faded the whole war room and won. We love that. But who would win, Aljo or Diego Lopez? That's a tough one. I
would take Aljo.
Yeah, I might have to take
Crazy
Aljo.
as it sounds, I'd take Aljo.
But we can get into that a little later after the main event if you stick around. But Ben Johnson should have been more comfortable on the feet. Wes Schultz caught him with a sick knee up the middle, dropped Ben Johnson, which I did not expect. I don't even think Wes Schultz knew that he dropped him because he didn't have any sense of urgency to go after it. But yeah, Wes Schultz, man, I mean, good win. I guess got to commend him for sticking through that and not being deterred, pulling it out of the fire. But yeah, I just feel for Ben Johnson, man. That's tough to lose in that way, especially in your UFC debut in your home country. Yeah, that was definitely interesting to say the least. But yeah, still very low on Wes Schultz. Did not raise his stock for me at all.
Actually, John, more I think about it, I might actually take Diego.
I was thinking about that just because
Diego's going to be bigger in the octagon than Aljo.
He has the grappling too, and the power on the feet. It's unmatched.
Yeah, honestly, give me Diego in that fight.
Poor Aljo.
Yeah. Poor Aljo.
Poor Aljo.
And not poor Ben Johnson. He did it to himself, but
yeah.
Poor Vince Morales. Poor guy.
Dead demons.
I don't even think it's that. It's just he just comes up just short every time. This was a pretty close fight, Chris. Thickness's grappling looked good in round one. He nearly got the triangle. Had an armbar attempt. Real clean jiu-jitsu. But I think Morales' submission defense was crafty, and round two was razor thin. I personally thought Morales might have squeaked that one. Then round three, Morales just beat the hell out of Thickness. He rocked him, beat him up from the top. He showed that real veteran savviness. It wasn't enough, though. And honestly, when I heard unanimous decision, I say, yep, Australia's getting the W. They're not going against the Aussie here.
Yeah.
Close rounds tend to go the home fighter's way. You could have easily given Morales round two. Thickness is 2-1 in the UFC now, and they seem to be investing in him. Obviously, it's Volk's guy, but I'm not sure it's necessarily for the better just yet. I'd run him against, still like lower comp. I was thinking the winner. Okay, so Timmy Kawamba and Bernardo Sopai are fighting. I think the winner of that should fight Thickness and just see what happens. I think that type of matchup tells you more about where he's at. I'm still not like all the way 100% in on Colby Thickness. I don't think this matchup really did anything for me to move the needle. How crazy would it be if Aljo got the title shot, Volk illegally knees him, and Aljo wins the belt by DQ again? That would be crazy. That would be poetic justice, huh? And then Volk would come back in the rematch and absolutely kill him. Or I don't know, if history repeats itself, then Aljo wins the rematch by split decision, and we all debate whether it should have went to him. But hey, that's a bit of a hypothetical for you.
Yeah, no, definitely. I did take Vince Morales on a little flyer. Not mad at the pick. I think it was a solid pick. It was definitely a super close fight.
That's not a bad pick.
I do think that Vince Morales was able to edge out that second round, if I'm being completely honest. But it is close. I can see either side, so I'm not out here screaming robbery as I usually am. But yeah, I definitely a solid showing from Vince Morales. I mean, I think he's a good litmus test for these guys. And it sucks because his record in the UFC is absolutely atrocious. But I mean, he's not a bad fighter. He really isn't. It's just, like you said, he just comes up short every time. And it's like, it's not by a mile. It's like he's coming up three.
Chris, it's the Kevin Borjas problem.
Yes, it is. But I think he's better than Kevin Borjas. I mean, getting out of those submissions in the first round, that was wild. I don't know how he was able to do it. He did not panic. He was able to keep his cool. And that's the big thing with getting out of submissions. You can't panic and make irrational movements and sink yourself deeper into someone's, body triangle or guard I think he did the perfect thing, just kind of waiting it out, slowly inching his way out of the triangle and the arm triangle. But yeah, I mean, the second round, Vince Morales did a great job stuffing takedowns too. He was ready. His sprawls were on point. And then obviously the third round, he almost finished Colby Thickness. So we're not even going to question that was his round. But yeah, I mean, Colby Thickness, he's another guy who's still pretty raw. He's kind of giving me a little bit of Mikhailov vibes, but I think he's a little bit better than Mikhailov. I think he's a little bit on a higher tier than him, just because of the guys he's training with. He's training in a great camp at City Kickboxing. The grappling is very good, and we got to see that.
Over Mikhailov?
A little bit.
Nah, I got it. Nah, no way. I think Mikhailov,
because I think that Thickness has more striking capacity than Mikhailov does. Mikhailov just kind of relies on power, and I think that Thickness is a little bit more well-rounded.
I don't know. I trust Mikhailov more in ground situations. I don't think. Well, they're obviously in very, very different weight classes, but I'd still probably take Mikhailov. New setup. Yeah, I got the new setup.
Yeah, but I mean, Thickness on the feet really didn't look bad. He did have some. He had some good high kicks, some elbows. I think he was mixing it up very well, just showing us, everything that he has to offer. But yeah, I mean, Vince Morales, it's tough. Because obviously you can look at the record and say, oh, this guy sucks. But then you watch him fight, and it's like he's really not a bad fighter. He's really not.
So weird. The weird thing about this fight that I keep kind of coming back to is Vince Morales' stock went up and Thicknesses didn't really go. Like, I could argue Vince Morales' stock went up more than Thicknesses did in this fight, even though he lost.
I can agree.
But I still think Vince Morales is getting cut because that's just nature of the game.
That's what sucks. I mean, it kind of just goes by record, but yeah, I mean, definitely not. I don't think it was a bad pick on my end. Both Sam and Shrikar took Thickness, so pat on the back for you guys. But yeah,
I don't blame you for that. It's not a bad pick at all.
Hey, look, it was a close fight. It was a close fight. But yeah, I was impressed with Vince Morales. I hope they give him a layup in his next fight if he's still in the UFC, just to get him back in the win column, because it's getting tough to see this guy lose, and he's not bad. I mean, 16-11 isn't great, but he's fought some good fighters in the UFC. It's not like obviously he has lost to.
He's literally Kevin Borjas one class up.
Yeah, pretty much. He really might be, which kind of sucks. I mean, like, I'll take a quick look at the guys he's lost to in the UFC. Not bad. Colby Thickness, obviously. Raul Rosas, Elijah Smith, Taylor Lapulus, his first stint, Miles Johns, Jonathan Martinez, Chris Gutierrez, Song Yadong. I mean, like, he's really not losing.
My brother's going through the ringer, bro.
I know, but he's not losing to bad fighters. It's just,
but you gotta win.
You gotta win at a point. I think this was his best chance to win. But yeah, hopefully Vince Morales can get something going. Because I do like him as a fighter, and he's a funny guy.
Jacob Malkoun and Gerald Mearshart.
Terrible. I hate this guy.
Guys, we don't want to talk about this fight. Like, we really don't, but we're going to, because we promised you every fight top to bottom. Malkoun had Mearshart looking awkward early in round one, like actually uncomfortable on the feet, and then he decided to wrestle GM3.
Idiot.
I don't think you need us to tell you that's the wrong call. He nearly got choked out. And then Mearshart just controlled the whole first round from top. It's like Malkoun literally handed the round away. Rounds 2 and 3, Malkoun with some decent boxing, a bit of pressure, nothing major, low output, low accuracy. He's very, very slow on the feet. And GM3 almost stole round 3 with a deep submission attempt. The modified guillotine in the top position. I mean, Malkoun almost fumbled this fight completely. He literally almost sold it. But what sucks with Malkoun is I do think he had real promise at one point. He was 30. He looked like someone to watch, but I think the injuries changed him, man. He's a decision merchant now. He is a decisionator, and not the kind where people are on the edge of their seats because he's in, barn burner fights. It's literally because he wants to take fights the distance. He has no finishing ability whatsoever. And we saw glimpses of it against Torres Finney. That's why we warned you on the pod. Malkoun by KO was always going to be a risky bet because this guy does not have the finishing instincts. He just doesn't. He doesn't go for it. And me, like an idiot, still bet Malkoun KO round 1. So I guess I'm not
same.
I guess I don't follow my own advice, but I don't know. Maybe they throw Malkoun Cam Rouston. Maybe they just do an Aussie versus Aussie fight potentially. Or like a Dustin Stoltzfus. I don't know. Like, really, who cares about Jacob Malkoun? I'm not gonna lie. He just doesn't move the needle at all right now. He just doesn't strike me as a guy that I have to be watching. So suffice to say, I'm out on Jacob Malkoun.
He looks like he's literally an RAF trying to be in a UFC fight. I mean, he should just, if he doesn't want to strike, then just go do RAF full time. I mean, what are we doing here? Are you really scared of what GM3's throwing back at you to not engage in the slightest in striking? And I think the broadcast said it perfectly. If anyone was able to tune in for this fight, which if you were, I am so sorry that you had to endure 15 minutes of that.
And we applaud you.
Yeah, we applaud you. I'm applauding myself. We both deserve a pat on the back for watching this fight. At what was it, 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning,
something like that.
Yeah, I mean, he just, I don't get it. No, so what I was getting to is the broadcast said it perfectly. Is that the wrestling is just so ingrained in him that it's like he just can't help himself but shoot a takedown. Even in situations where it's like, why are you shooting here? Pressure forward and get the job done. And it's just, even he strikes me as a guy as even if I'm going to throw a crisp combo, rock the guy, I'm going to take him down instantly. It's like, no, dude, keep him on the feet. I don't get it. I really don't. He's not moving the needle at all. This fight actually made his stock go down for me. And the stock wasn't very high. I actually was not really a big believer in Jacob Malkoun. Obviously, you see his Andre Petrosky knockout on Tapology, and if you didn't watch the fight, you're like, oh my god, like he has a knockout, blah blah blah.
Which gets proven with every fight that it was a fluke.
Yeah, Andre Petrosky knocked himself out somehow on this dude's hip. Like it was nothing that Jacob Malkoun did in that fight caused that at all. I'm very down on Jacob Malkoun. I do not think this was a good performance. And the clock's ticking on him. I really think it is. It's just like I was honestly, after the first round, I started rooting for GM3. We'll put it like that.
No, I did too. That whole third round, I was just like, all right, GM3 just
I was like, let's go, Gerald. Let's go, Gerald. Get it done. Come on. I would love to see you win this. This is such a fight you'd win. But yeah, definitely not a good performance in the absolute slightest from Jacob Malkoun.
How about this?
Dude,
I wish we had Sam here. I really do wish we had Sam here. If you guys watch predictions for this card, yeah. Sam took Kevin Christian, which I don't know why he took him, but we went on pod and we said Kevin Christian's the worst light heavyweight on the roster. He is. Nice knockout for Junior Tafa, but I guess we can tell the whole story here. Kevin Christian was actually doing some damage with those leg kicks early on. Tafa was wobbling. He was uncomfortable. And then Christian kind of just awkwardly shot a terrible takedown, caught his hip weird, went to his back, and Tafa was on him immediately with ground and pound and elbows, lights out from there. So it was violent, and it looked good on highlights, but Christian was honestly making it competitive before his own takedown killed him. Again, the dude is probably the worst fighter on the roster at light heavyweight, maybe the worst fighter on the roster, period. But still, he was giving Tafa problems, which I guess kind of says a lot about Junior Tafa. But he keeps his UFC career alive. Best case scenario for him. But am I crazy to say, if they did Junior Tafa versus like a Brendan Ribeiro, I would pick Ribeiro. I would not pick Junior Tafa. Crazy enough. He called out Zhang Mingyang, which is just not happening.
It's hilarious.
And if it does, Zhang Mingyang will murder him, but that's not going to happen. I think Ribeiro makes more sense as a next fight, even if I am kind of worried Ribeiro's just going to wrestle him and win that way. Maybe they run him against DR Nurgojai instead, keep it low stakes, but it's still going to be bottom of the barrel fights for Tafa. They're not going to move him up in any way. He's going to go out and do what they kind of want him to do, and that's hopefully get a highlight finish or get finished. It's kind of just where he is right now.
Did you just mention DR Nurgojai?
I did. I forgot to wipe my eye while I did it.
Yeah, please let that happen. That would be hilarious. I would love that fight. Kevin Christian lived up to being the worst light heavyweight. Honestly, a bottom 3 fighter in the UFC, for being completely honest.
Probably bottom 1.
Wait, there's one guy I'm thinking of that's definitely worse than him who is it? It's slipping my mind. I'm going to remember it, but I know there's someone worse than him.
I don't know. Kevin Christian has just been terrible.
No, I know, but there's. Oh, you know what? I have a good fight for Junior Tafa. This would be fun because this guy isn't gonna wrestle. Do him versus Ebo Aslan.
Am I tripping or did they do that already? Oh no, they didn't. I was thinking of Billy Alicana Jr. And
no, I think that him versus Ebo Aslan would actually be a really fun fight. Just
I don't disagree.
Right up Junior Tafa's alley. Aslan's on a 3-fight losing streak. So if they were going to get him back in the win column, it'd probably be against Junior Tafa. But yeah, Christian was eating up those legs though. That leg was damaged within the first 2 leg kicks. So if Junior Tafa didn't get it out of there in the first round, I think he would have lost that fight undoubtedly. I like the Ebo Aslan fight. I think that would be really fun. It would just be a striking matchup. I've said it before. Junior Tafa is not an MMA fighter. He's just a striker. That's what he likes to do. Make that happen. I hope. I think that would be really fun.
Yeah, I think either way, they're gonna put him in a low stakes fight. It's not gonna be anything crazy, but Junior Tafa gets it done. Cam Rouston versus Robert Peričić. This was a masterclass from Cam Rouston. He showed up and showed out, dominant on the ground, dominant with ground and pound, dominant at distance. Peričić has solid close range boxing, and he is a legit puncher, but he had no answer for Rouston's grappling or Rouston's distance management. 3-0 UFC start for Rouston. Are they bumping the competition up now? Honestly, I think Cam Rouston versus Yusri Belgaroui would be a hell of a fight. That would be an incredible fight. And he did call out Marvin Vettori. I saw that. I think it's interesting. I actually thought Vettori was booked, but apparently not. That fight probably doesn't happen on Australian soil, but if Rouston's trying to make his name by beating a guy his training partners couldn't finish, I get the logic. I don't think it's a terrible call out at all. This was a good performance, and Cam Rouston definitely one to watch going forward.
Yeah, 100%. A masterful performance. I mean, you see the takedowns, 3 for 7, but those 3 that he landed controlled the round each time. He did not need more than 1 takedown per round to keep Peričić on the ground. Peričić was doing solid in terms of body work. It was very few and far in between, but when he did rip to the body against Cam Rouston, you could tell it bothered him a little bit, but for me, coming in, it was just the tentativeness of Robert Peričić. I mean, he was walking down Rouston almost the entire first round, and he didn't throw anything. He was barely throwing. Obviously, the reach of Rouston caused some problems for Peričić, and I think Rouston, one of the best parts of his game is distance control and distance management. Just keeping his hand out there. And again, I'm going to reference the broadcast because it was a very solid part on the analysts this weekend. But I'm trying to think of who said it. I think it was Paul Felder. You saw Cam Rouston just holding his arms out there, even if he wasn't throwing. It was kind of just like a stiff arm, just putting it out there and just letting Peričić know, this is my range. I can touch you from here. So, and I think that really kind of got into Peričić's head, and he was like, wow, I'm going to have to get on the inside. And Rouston's still a very good clinch striker. He has nasty elbows, nasty knees. He does a lot of good work. And I love how when he got it to the ground, he wasn't just sitting there. He was looking for the finish. He was working the entire time, trying to get Peričić out of there. Yeah, definitely a great performance from Cam Rouston. I mean, I don't think you could have done it any better than that, other than a finish. But it got pretty close. So yeah, I dude, if he fought Yusri Belgarui, I'd have to take Yusri in that.
I don't know though, because Rouston can match the reach.
Dude, no, but I think that's the adverse problem for Cam Rouston, is that Yusri can match the reach, keep it at distance, and Yusri is a clinical striker.
But Rouston's better on the ground, and I think Rouston would try.
I've liked what I've seen from Yusri's takedown defense. He does not let you get close.
I need to see it. I need to see it.
I think that would be a good fight. Vittori's not a bad call out either. I think that's also a good fight for Cam Rouston and a guy that in Marvin Vettori who's pretty hard to finish. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what they do with Cam Rouston, because I think that this guy's shooting for the stars right now. Especially like the last performance against Brundage, not great. I mean, Brundage almost clipped him numerous times. And he came out and showed everyone that was a little bit of a fluke. Even though he got the knockout against Brundage, he came out and showed, look, this is what I can do. And I was super impressed with Cam Rouston.
All right, let's get to the main card.
Oh God,
with the big fellas. Hey, we got a few people in here. If you're in here, make sure you like up the stream. Make sure you hop in the chat. Ask us anything. We'll keep it clean also as well. Keep it respectful. Follow the socials down below as well if you're in here. Tai Tuivasa and Louis Sutherland, man. Guys, this hurt to watch.
It was bad.
Sutherland got 5 takedowns. I mean, Tuivasa was slower than ever. He can't explode into range. The accuracy is off. Sutherland even caught him with a spinning elbow. I mean, it was just smothering and grinding and positional control the whole night. Guys, this is it for Tai in the UFC. It has to be.
No.
He's lost 7 in a row. He was once an 8-3 contender on the rise at heavyweight. Exciting knockout artist, fan favorite. Now he's 8-10, and he's getting wrestled around by guys who have never submitted anyone in their careers. Let him go. Seriously, send him to bare knuckle. He would win in bare knuckle. He'd thrive there. He should not be in a grappling fight in the UFC anymore. I've seen better fights in my local pub. Hey, Alex Wiseman, welcome to the stream, my brother. I have two.
Brother.
I have hilarious. 2. Sutherland keeps his career alive with a win over a local fan favorite. You know what? Respect to Sutherland. His losses were only to top 15 guys. He only lost to Walter Walker and Brando Peričić, and both of those guys are legit, as we'll get into Brando in a second. But, the win is the win. Maybe they give him like a Steven Asplin next, or maybe Gokhan Sadicham, something around that level. But, Sutherland gets it done.
Damn, I was going to say if Tai's still in the UFC, I think they'd give him Steven Asplin.
He's not going to be.
Nah, he is.
If you're losing to Louis Sutherland, Steven Asplin is going to piece Tai Tuivasa up. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, Sutherland laid on him. That's my analysis. He laid on him. Did land a sick spinning back elbow and a knee right up the middle, and Tai ate it like lunch, like he usually does. But yeah, I mean, I don't even know who I can give Sutherland to. It's just, it's like this performance still didn't even really move the needle for me, at least. Obviously, it was a dominant win, but Tai's never had a ground game. It was always, if you took him down, it was over. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't really know who I can give him. Like, I feel like he loses to a lot of these guys that are above him. If I'm being completely honest, like Kennedy Nezuchukwu, I think he loses that terribly. Obviously, Bozer, if he's going to stick around in the UFC, I'm still taking Tanner Bozer. We could give him the GOAT, Marcus Buchecha.
Yeah, Buchecha's out of here.
Yeah, he's probably cut too. I feel like he's drawn from a very thin pool. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I feel like Sutherland's kind of just going to be a layup guy for some of these up and coming heavyweights, if I'm being completely honest.
I think I
But yeah,
definitely want to see Asplund and Sutherland. I think that would be the matchup.
I think that would be fun. That would be fun.
Because Asplund obviously just lost to Petrino, so he needs
yeah, and I'm taking Asplund in that. I think that he would knock Louis Sutherland senseless.
Yeah, but no need to linger here because we have an absolute banger with the next fight.
Insane fight.
Yeah, this was a crazy one. This is when we started cooking.
Yeah.
Brando Peričić knocks out Shamil Gaziev. Gaziev went full Dagestani mode in round one. He shot for takedowns. He tried to wrestle, but Peričić was back up to his feet quick. Every time Gaziev tried to smother him on the fence, Peričić was landing thunderous shots in return. The hands were absolutely crazy in this fight. Lightning fast, power on every shot, just a relentless pursuit. Gaziev did have one moment. He caught him with a nice little uppercut, but Perisić's chin is good, man.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
He just kept coming, and eventually he put Gaziev away. This guy is a heavyweight contender we have been waiting for. I am very high on Brando Peričić. He fights like an entertainer. Violence is his number one priority. He's City Kickboxing's guy now, and he just broke into the top 15 by beating number 14. I think Peričić versus like a Marcin Tabora is a real possibility, and I think that'd be a genuinely interesting fight. I think Peričić might actually knock Tabora out. Yeah, that's how impressed I was. For Gaziev, though, tough stretch. Maybe they match him with Tanner Boser and just let him rebuild. Because I do think the chin is there with Shamil, but he ate a lot of bombs before going out. But he's just getting exposed at this level. So yeah, good win for Peričić for sure.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I do not know how Shamil Gaziev stood up that long. I mean, that was insane. He was getting hit with sledgehammers and just ate it and kept walking forward like an absolute zombie. Yeah, I thought that this was going to be kind of how it went. Not really. I didn't think that Gaziev was going to have as much success as he did in the beginning. He did have a good game plan in terms of getting close and kind of wrapping Peričić up and making sure that he wasn't able to move as fluently as he does. But the speed on Peričić for a 265er is just
ridiculous.
Wild. Yeah, it's almost not fair how fast this guy moves. I mean, it almost reminds me of a little bit of a not in terms of technicality, but the way he moves, it's almost like a Cyril Gane, where it's just.
I was about to say, I think he's almost like a mix of a Gane and Aspinall.
Yes, I so agree. It's not as technical, but it's just so fast that it makes you question, like, how is he doing this at this weight? Yeah, I mean, he was hitting Gaziev with some absolute haymakers. Gaziev was eating them, returning too. Gaziev was not scared. I got to credit him on that he just kept walking back into the fire, trying to land his own. But yeah, I mean, Peričić, now he's in the top 15, rightfully so. I mean, this guy is great. I think that he's really going to mix up this heavyweight division. You mentioned Marcin Tybura. I like that fight. I could see him fighting Ante Delia. I think Delia would be a good fight for him. And if they really want to boost him, I mean, what about Curtis Blades?
I
feel terrible for Blades, but
I think that could be possible. I honestly,
yeah,
Brando knocks Curtis Blades out.
I think he does, which I would hate to see, but if they want to strap a rocket to this guy's back, get him in the top 10, get him some quality fights, I think Blades is the guy to do it. I think Blades is the guy to kind of piggyback off of, and sadly, I feel like that's what Blades has been for this last half of his career, is kind of just the pick in fights where you can boost another guy's stock while kind of keeping Curtis Blades' stock relatively the same. But I think that would be a good test because Blades, I mean, he's going to have to grapple in that fight. He can't stand with Peričić. Like, that's not a Josh Hokett where, Hokett's landing bombs, but you can kind of eat it. Like, Peričić is going to put you out cold.
Yeah. And guys, as much as we crap on heavyweight, and we will still give it its critiques because it's a very, very shallow division. There are some big things coming up at heavyweight. Obviously, while Aspinall waits in the wings, we're going to get Pereira and Gunn, which is a huge heavyweight fight. Josh Hokett, making his way up the rankings, and we just got the greatest heavyweight fight ever. Gable Steveson is about to enter the fray at International Fight Week. We're very interested in that debut. I think there is, and then obviously with Brando Peričić, I think there's a lot of big things that are coming to heavyweight. So I'm going to go a little easier on them, but obviously the issue with heavyweight still remains that the division is so shallow. Like there's no depth to this division at all.
Zero.
But in terms of the moments we're about to get and maybe the top heaviness of heavyweight, I think it's going to be really interesting. I think it's something that we'll definitely still have to tune in for. So an interesting switch around there, but incredible fight between Shamil Gaziev and Brando, the Balkan Bear Peričić. Marwan Rahiki and Ali Schmid. This was easy money for Rahiki. Clean punching power, lightning fast. He looked really comfortable in there. He landed a left hook, dropped Schmid, ref jumped in, done. The hype is real, and he's only 23 years old. I think he has a lot of potential. But, and this is very important, I'm not fast tracking Rahiki. I'm not rushing it.
Agreed.
He just beat a 4-3 guy. You don't blow past that and throw him into a Shark Tank. So I want to see the fight that was originally going to be the fight before Ali Schmid stepped in. I want to see Marwan Rahiki and Jack Jenkins. I think you rebook that fight because that was going to be an absolute banger. And unfortunately, Jenkins couldn't make it. But give him the Jenkins rebooking. Let him develop. Do not let one bad night turn him into a cautionary tale. And let's take this moment while we're at it to talk about the featherweight division. Because I texted these guys, I think, right after the card ended, and I said featherweight's going to be the next welterweight. When you look at the prospects in featherweight right now, it is scary. Marcio Barbosa, Marwan Rahiki, Le'Veon Douglas, Jose Delano, Alberto Montes, who people are sleeping on, Javier Reyes, Tommy McMillan. I mean, this is a loaded division. Rahiki definitely... Okay, I think Rahiki will get into that conversation eventually, but I think you got to let him get there at the right pace. I'll include him for now, just because I still think he has a ton of potential. Ali Schmid should probably be released. He's just not ready for the UFC yet. Let him build outside. Come back in a few years when he's 28, 29 years old, when he has some real reps under him. I just don't think he has the experience, but obviously keeping him on the roster right now doesn't help anybody. But Marwan Rahiki got it done, did what he had to do. Featherweight's going to be a violent division for a while, especially with guys like Silva, Garcia, Melky, and Vallejos at the top. Yeah, I didn't even go into the guys that are already in the rankings. I mean, featherweight is it is a top 3 division in the UFC right now, and I think it is going to pretty much take number 1 in probably a couple of years. So definitely an interesting division to keep an eye out for.
No, I definitely agree. I think it's getting pretty loaded, and I'm all for it. I love the featherweight division. They had a great contender series class too. I mean, some of these guys are going to be some of the most well-known featherweights in I would say maybe 2 years. Just give it a little bit of time there, but yeah, no, I think that Rahiki did everything he needed to do. It wasn't even a question. He came in, adjusted beautifully, hit Ali Schmid with a sick uppercut, and it was over. It was as fast as we kind of expected it to go. But Rahiki, yeah, I don't want to fast track him too much, but I would like to give him a veteran. And there's a guy that I have my eye on, and it definitely is a step up in competition. But I think. Can
I guess who it is? Because I think I know who it is.
Tell me.
My psychic powers. Touchy-feely?
Bang. Yeah. I would love to see that fight. Andre is a very grizzled vet. He's been around the block with killers. I think that the youthful exuberance of Rahiki could take him over the edge in that fight. But I think Feely's a guy that'll match kind of technicality, fight IQ as well. Not scared to grapple. We haven't really seen Rahiki in that type of danger yet. but I think that could be a really good test for him. Obviously, I think the Jack Jenkins fight could also be very good. Just to rebook that and get Jack Jenkins back in the fold. But I would love to see Rahiki versus Feely. I think that could be a really good litmus test for him. And Schmid, yeah, he needs some time, but I can see it. I can see it with him. We didn't get a big sample size, but I can see what he can become. We'll put it like that.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree. I think if they weren't going to go with the rebooking and they just wanted a new guy for Rahiki, I think Feely would be a really good veteran test for him and would provide him something he hasn't seen before. So I think that'd be a very interesting matchup. Indeed.
All
right, featured bout.
Featherweight's going to be a violent division for a while, especially with guys like Silva, Garcia, Melky, and Vallejos at the top. Yeah, definitely. This is a featherweight class right now that is loaded with killers, guys that have finishing instinct. And I think that's what takes some of these divisions over the top against others, is people that are willing to go in there, finish the fight, and make highlights. I mean, some you just go on Instagram. It's like they're not posting a video of someone just crotch sniffing for 15 minutes and ground and pound. You want to see highlights, and that's exactly what all these guys are bringing to the table.
Yep, for sure. No, I agree with that completely. Featured bout: Tim Elliott versus Steve Erceg. Guys, I tried warning you on predictions. This line was such a trap. It really was. And as the line started closing in, I got a little worried. But Steve Erceg got it done. 136 significant strikes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
From Steve Erceg. That is the number, and that tells you everything. Elliott came out round one. He had some decent shots. He got a takedown. He looked solid in round one, but Erceg found his rhythm in round two and just started picking him apart. Very precise, very surgical. His jab basically just told the whole story. Elliott was getting pieced up with it all night. And every time he tried to shoot for takedowns, he was getting stuffed or reversed. Erceg even surprised him with a takedown of his own. Like, yeah, I can do that too. Everybody was on Elliott coming into this, and I get it. He's been winning, but I thought a matchup that favors Erceg's range and Erceg's volume would expose him, and that's exactly what happened. Steve Erceg put on a reminder performance. Next fight, Alex Perez and Sumu Darji are about to fight. I think the winner of that I would like against Erceg. That's the direction that makes sense for him. I do think Tim Elliott is still a fun gatekeeper. So I'm looking just outside the ranking. Maybe the Bruno Silva, Edgar Shirez winner would be a nice fight for Tim Elliott. But overall, great stuff from Steve Erceg. This was the bounce back that he needed.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Masterful performance from Erceg. This pick actually gave Shrikar the lead in picks. So gotta give it up. Tip my cap to Shrikar on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I a big part of my pick was the line movement, thinking that would be interesting. And I mean, hey, in the first round, Elliott did look good. It was the awkwardness that really got to Erceg, but Erceg just downloaded that. He kind of took the first round to feel it out. Still land his own punches as well. And then, the awkwardness that Tim Elliott brought, it looked like it was just solved. Against a guy that maybe doesn't have that fight IQ or that downloading speed, that could work. And it has for Tim Elliott. I mean, an Asakura fight, that's exactly what happened. Asakura just couldn't solve the puzzle. And in the second and third round, Erceg he solved it completely. Like it was definitely very fun to watch, just see Erceg kind of dominate like that. Obviously, I was upset because I had Elliott. I have money on Elliott, but taking a step back and just looking at the fight as a whole, Erceg definitely did exactly what he needed to do. Like you said, the jab was on point, man. He was touching up Tim Elliott with that, and then just the boxing. That's what Steve Erceg brings. He's also a good grappler. You could see it in the takedown defense. He was ready for everything that Elliott was going to bring. And Elliott, maybe if he just had a little more zip on his punches, it could have stifled Erceg a little more. And obviously, you saw that the gas tank definitely depleted crazy in the third round. Elliott was kind of just willing himself to move forward. But like I mentioned, like I said, if he had a little more zip on his punches, maybe it would have had Erceg thinking twice about coming in so much and really sticking the jab and just gaining some respect from Tim Elliott. But Elliott's not a guy that's a power puncher. He's more of just I'm just going to accumulate damage slowly. And I feel like that's always been his fault. He's not a guy that you go in there and you're like, oh, I'm scared that he's going to knock me out. And Erceg's a guy that you go in there and even though he doesn't have many knockouts, he
has the Match Now one.
Okay,
but it is Match Now.
Yeah, it's Match Now. But Erceg's a guy that he does have power, not overwhelming power, but enough to pop that jab enough that it's going to get you thinking twice, and that's exactly what he did with Tim Elliott. He really just outclassed him. So yeah, good for Steve Erceg, man, to get back in the win column like that. Obviously, he won his last fight against Ode Osborne, but in terms of just getting back on the horse and really gaining confidence, saying like, look, like those fights were against top competition, his 3 losses, and then the Ode Osborne fight. Look, Ode Osborne, I will die on this hill. He is one of the best fighters that has the worst fight IQ alive. I think his skills, sharp, technical, powerful, but he just can't put it all together. It doesn't accumulate all in one fight. But yeah, I mean, definitely a good bounce back win for Steve, or I'm going to call it a bounce back win. I think it warrants to be a bounce back win.
It is. Yeah, it is.
So yeah, definitely good for Steve Erceg. He looked great. He looked as good as you possibly could have looked. But yeah, Tim Elliott, another kind of gatekeeper role. So he's been in that for a solid amount of his career over the past few years. But yeah, I like that fight with Erceg and the winner of Perez Sumudaerji. I think that him versus Sumudaerji could be a great fight. I'm honestly pulling for Sumudaerji in that.
But even Erceg and Perez would be a banger.
Erceg and Perez would be good, but I would love to see Erceg kind of deal with the length of Sumudaerji and the power that he brings too. So yeah, either or would be a good fight. Great performance from Steve Erceg. No other comments.
I had a plus 5,679 parlay where I was betting a bunch of fights to go over 1.5, but it didn't hit because I had the Tafa and Dariush fights up there. I must have not been paying attention when I made the parlay because I do not remember putting the Tafa.
Dude, that happened to me. That actually happened to me last card, and it not to rub it in. My stupidness worked out because I wanted to take Francis Marshall to finish Lucas Brennan. And I picked decision because they had the exact same odds as overall finish and decision. I'm like, no, bro, why'd I do that? And I texted Shrikar. He was like, don't worry, bro. It's going to be a decision anyway. It was a decision. But yeah, there have been some bets where I'm like, oh my God.
I literally thought of that moment as I was reading the chat.
That
literally just happened last week.
Yeah, that was, but damn, sorry, brother. I hope you made some other money. Actually, no, you said you bet on Carlos Prates, so hopefully that made up.
Yeah, hopefully you bet enough on Prates that you made it back, but plus 5,000, that hurts.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Co-main event, speaking of Beneil Dariush.
Poor Benny.
Yeah, poor guy. Salkilld got caught with a stiff jab in round 1. He was slightly rocked, slightly off balance, but his defensive grappling was excellent the whole night. Dariush got him down a couple times. Nothing came of it. Salkilld was right back up every time. And then it opened up. Dariush tried to sit in the pocket and trade, which why would you do that against Quillen Salkilld? I don't know. He's not fast enough to do that anymore. So wrong call there. Salkilld rocks him and finishes with ground and pound. Clean stoppage. Dariush didn't even move when the ref jumped in. Guys, Salkilld is for real. You didn't need me to tell you it. We've been all collectively high on Salkilld for a bit now. And now he's a contender. He is no longer a guy that's making his way up. Co-main event at home, and he looked comfortable the whole time. He just broke into the rankings, and I think he's on a fast track now. There's no way the UFC doesn't put a rocket on this guy's back. He called out Gamrot. I think Gamrot versus Salkilld makes a lot of sense as a next fight, or even Dan Hooker, if they want to give him someone with name value. I mean, Quillen Salkilld is a top 10 lightweight to me. He is a top 10 quality fighter. So, I think either of those matchups would work. For Dariush, does Dariush even want to keep fighting? Like, I don't even know what's going to happen with him.
I hope not. I can't
you,
take
you
more.
don't you don't have to keep fighting. We're trying to say it the nice way. Retire. Just
or just put him in an unction fight so he can go out on top.
Yeah, I mean, if he does come back, I think something like Ludovic Klein or maybe the winner of Rumbetsky and Grant Dawson. I think that can make sense. I think a grappling heavy fight where he can still be dangerous.
No, I don't even know. Maybe Grant Dawson, but Rumbetsky would absolutely clip him. I think Ludovic Klein would clip him as well. Dawson doesn't really have the power coming back on that way to make me scared for Dariush, but Rumbetsky I think would kill him, which is sad.
No, it's fine. I don't bet much anyways. I just put 10 cents on the plus. Okay, good.
Okay. All right,
you're
cool.
But it still hurts to miss it out by that much.
Yeah,
at least it was only 10 cents. You're good.
Yeah, that's good. But yeah, no, I mean, Salkilld is legit. There's nothing else to say. I mean, the guy's shown us time and time again. Biggest win of his career, albeit against the aging Benny Dariush, but it's still Benny Dariush. And, you know, Dariush had his moments early. Like Shrikar said, a stiff jab on an entry from Salkilld, dropped him to a knee. Dariush kind of swarmed. And then even though we did take down Salkilld 2 times, I knew it was going to be over as soon as I saw Benny Dariush working on a single leg takedown for about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. I'm like, oh, if he doesn't get this, this fight is not going to go well for however long it lasts. And then, yeah, just not being able to get it standing in the pocket with a guy like Quillen Salkilld is not the smartest decision that Benny Dariush has ever made. But yeah, I would love to see the Gamrot Salkilld fight. We haven't seen Salkilld against a grappler like that, and especially after the performance against Esteban Ribovics from Gamrot, you know that's what he's gonna do. He's not even gonna leave it to imagination on the feet. Definitely against a guy like Salkilld. And not saying that Ribovics and Salkilld are the same person, same fighter, but they present the same danger on the feet. I feel like that Gamrot would try to negate and take it to the ground. But yeah, that would be a good fight, good step up in comp for him. And Benny Dariush, yeah, just please put him in just an unction fight and let's call it a career. I love Benny Dariush and I can't see him keep losing like this. And it's not like he's losing in like decisions or whatever. He's getting brutally eviscerated every time. So yeah, let's make that happen. But Salkilld, man, this guy is legit. He's fun to watch too. He really is. Like it's kind of awesome. Every time he gets in the octagon, like I get hyped just because I know something crazy is going to happen. And you want to hear something funny? My friend pointed this out to me. So Quillen Salkilld, 12-1. He lost his first professional MMA fight to a guy in, I don't even know what promotion this is. Eternal MMA. I've heard of it, but I don't know where it's based. Actually, let's see.
I think Australia.
Yeah, it might be in Australia.
Yeah,
Australian promotion.
Eternal's definitely Australian because Bedtime's been working with them.
Okay. So he lost his first professional MMA fight to this guy by submission, I think. That guy is 1-0 in professional MMA. That fight happened in 2021. He has not fought ever again. His one
good way to go out.
Win. Yeah, that's what I said. I was like, bro, I mean, I would never fight again. My one win's over Quillen Salkilld.
Oh, God is winning.
Yeah. So I thought that was actually hilarious. So I had to mention it. But yeah, Quillen Salkilld is.
Will you guys talk about 328 as well, or just this card? You know what? Just for you, John, we'll talk about 328 a bit. We won't go into our picks or anything in detail, but we'll talk about it briefly. We definitely want to talk about Hamzat and Strickland. But we actually got some content coming out on 328. So before you guys get our picks video, which hopefully Sam will be there too, we're going to do a video on Sean Strickland. So that's going to come out before picks. So stay tuned for that. It'll be kind of like a career retrospective on Sean Strickland. We're going to talk about his legacy, where it stands heading into this fight and where it could stand going out of this fight. So we'll have some content coming up for 328, but after we're done talking about the Prates fight, yeah, I'm down to talk about 328 for a little bit and just take a look ahead. But let's take a look back here at probably one of the best welterweight performances we've ever seen. Carlos Prates versus Jack Della Maddalena. Look, 10 out of 10. That's it. That's my review.
I'll give it an 11 out of 10 performance from him.
Yeah. Chris, I'll let you go first on this one because I've pretty much went first on every other one, but
it's all right.
I'll let you take the reins on this one. What do you think of Mr. CP's performance?
Sure. Yeah. Carlos Prates lived up to his nickname of the Nightmare. He caused Jack Della Maddalena absolute fits in the octagon. He looked so calm and composed. It looked like he was in a sparring session, if I'm being completely honest. It looked like he was in the UFC 5 video game where you have someone rocked so many times that anything you throw is going to be detrimentally terrible for your opponent. He came out in the first round and JDM just did not look comfortable at all. He was not able to get on the inside. Prates standing at, what is he, 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", one of the bigger welterweights in the UFC. And this guy is one of the best strikers I've ever seen. I mean, I'm going to say, because I was saying it before, I think right now he is the best striker in the UFC. I think that he might be, I was saying top 3 before, but I really need to go back and dig deep to figure this out. I'm going to put the over arch that he is undoubtedly a top 5 striker in UFC history. I don't know who's doing this in the octagon.
I don't know if I go that far, but I can agree with you. You know what? If you're the best striker in the UFC at any point in time, I think that warrants you enough to be a top 5 in UFC history.
It's clinical every time this guy gets in the octagon. He's never won a fight that's went to decision. He's only, well, I shouldn't say that, in the UFC.
7 UFC wins, 7 KOs, 7 bonuses.
It's insane. Ridiculous. I mean, it's like art to watch this guy fight. Everything that comes towards his opponents is with intent to kill. It's like a pin. It's intense precision. He has such a good arsenal of strikes that he can throw at his opponents, and he displayed it all against JDM. Knees, elbows, kicks, punches, the leg kicks, and everything is like a bullseye. It's like he just doesn't miss the target, and he looks like he's having fun every time. That's what makes it so, that's what makes him so entertaining. Obviously, you can say the knockouts and the precise strikes is what makes it entertaining, but him just going in there, he's sizing up JDM, and this is what he's showing him. He's doing the cha-cha in there, and it's crazy to watch. He made JDM look like he didn't know how to fight. He really did. He suffocated him. He gave him no opportunity to implement any game plan. The leg kicks were absolutely a great game plan, 1. And 2, I think it was the deciding factor in the fight. Obviously, the knees were too, but JDM, once you limit his mobility, and for any fighter that matter, it gets really hard to try and stalk someone down, constantly move along the octagon. He had JDM so hurt that he started shooting takedowns. When do we see JDM shoot takedowns? And they were panic takedowns. They were like, get this guy away from me takedowns.
But I'm not going to lie. It was working.
It did work. It did work the first 2 times.
Yeah. If he stuck to it, maybe he would have had something.
But what I'm saying is the leg kicks, that limits your mobility, and
it screwed his base.
Exactly. It ruins the base. It ruins all the drive you have in your legs to get Carlos Prates down, unless you're just some insanely strong fighter that can just straight arm a takedown, which JDM is not. But he completely stifled JDM from the opening bell, and he looked like he's getting a title shot, and he is. Obviously, Ian Gary versus Islam Makhachev is set up. We don't know exactly when. It's being rumored for UFC 330 in Philly, which I will be going to. So I'm hoping that that's gonna take place. But Prates has earned the right to not fight again, wait for the title shot, and I believe that he said in an interview that he is not fighting again. Someone mentioned Michael Morales. He said no, which I think is a great decision. I think the only reason he's going to fight is if he's like, I just don't want to sit on the couch and I just want to get some action. But, why why danger your potential opportunity at a title fight by taking another fight that, anything can happen and you can lose?
Well, I'm not going to lie. If Prates Morales does happen, I'm picking Prates by KO.
Yeah, I am too.
Morales is not winning that fight.
Prates is insane. That's the only way that's what I'm going to leave it on. This dude is insane. He is must-see TV, and he really has etched a name for himself. And the Fighting Nerds, man, they're back. They had a little stint of a few losses in a row. They are back in a big way.
It may not be you specifically, whoever is watching, but I know the vast majority of MMA fans, they wrote the Fighting Nerds off. And I said it in one video or stream. I don't know why I wrote him off. Crazy that Prates is KO'd Jing Liang, Edwards, and now JDM, all of whom haven't been KO'd in the UFC before fighting Prates. Not to mention he also had Ian Gary crawling away. Yeah, facts. And I've seen people say on Twitter just how good is Ian Gary. Guys, Ian Gary is good.
Yeah.
The one problem with him is I just don't know where his ceiling truly is because he's not a finisher. He's not. He doesn't have finishing ability. If Prates and Gary rematched, I would take Carlos Prates.
I'd take Carlos Prates too. I think that fight really awoke the true Carlos Prates and said, all right, dude, come on, let's lock in.
John,
this next question is great.
What are we doing here?
Just the context, just to preface this is a great question because we've had numerous debates about MVP and how good is MVP and how bad is MVP. I love MVP. I think he's hilarious. He's a showman. He's awesome.
He's not a showman. He hasn't had an entertaining fight. I just don't know where this is coming from.
Yeah, I'd have to take Carlos Prates in this fight. Just because MVP wouldn't put up enough strikes to even do anything against Carlos Prates.
His pitter patter style won't work here. So
yeah, exactly. He would not be able to escape Carlos Prates. But that would be
it would not be a fun. No, don't
even. No. I was gonna say, maybe a year or two ago, that could have been a fight that they should have set up. But that was in the middle of MVP moving up to middleweight, moving back down. So it was kind of hard to say that. So
yeah, and I don't think they would have given Prates MVP that early in his career.
No, exactly. But yeah, I mean, that's a very good question, John.
Yeah, I don't know,
John. Who would you take in that fight? I want to know.
He's biting his nails. I don't like that. He's taking MVP.
Yeah. All right, Trico, what do you think about the fight?
I was kind of just thinking a lot after that fight ended. I mean, Prates was in flow state. Like he was in literal flow state. His footwork looked better than it ever has. His accuracy was ridiculous. He was piecing Jack up with jabs, catching him with knees on the inside, destroying the lead leg. What's up, Tyler? Welcome to the chat, brother. Landing elbows. I mean, JDM looked terrified. He genuinely, like, he was gun shy. He was frozen. He didn't want to be there. And I think, as I mentioned before, I think the Ian Gary fight is a distant memory. This is not the same Prates that fought Ian Gary. He talked about improving his footwork specifically after that loss, and holy shit, he did the work. You know, this 2.0 version of Carlos Prates on this win streak is a completely different animal.
Yeah.
And what made it so impressive to me, it was, as you mentioned, it wasn't just the damage. It was that Prates he made Jack Della look like a non-threat. He was taunting him at one point. As you mentioned, just moving his hands around. Like, he's like, is that all you got?
He was
literally talking to him during the fight. Jack landed a few punches, but Prates was unbothered. He was fighting a completely different level. Merciful stoppage. That was mercy. Jack was getting sliced up. He could barely stand. Thank God the ref jumped in. Without saying, Carlos Prates is the most terrifying striker at 170 right now. Probably the most terrifying striker in the UFC this side of Elliott Taporia. And he should be the number one contender. Islam is fighting Ian Gary. The winner of that is probably looking at Prates, or they run Prates versus Michael Morales in the interim. Either way, I think Prates beats Morales on the feet. If Morales can't get the takedown, Prates does the same here. He destroys his legs. He knocks him out. For Jack Della, man, take some real time off. Take a good bit of time to recover. Then I'd say maybe the winner of Brady and Buckley, once he's ready, somewhere where he can reset and find himself again. Because these have been 2 demoralizing losses in a row. And during the Islam fight, we saw as it went to the championship rounds, he was really just kind of out of it. And in this fight, he just gets beaten to a pulp. He's only 29 years old. The talent is real, man. Like, JDM is a very talented fighter. These are just brutal matchups. And tonight just wasn't his night. It was Prates' night at the end of the day. John says, I'm not sure, actually. A few years ago, probably MVP, because MVP was beating Ian Gary on the feet. But now probably Prates. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, wow, was that fight a few years ago? How long has MVP been in the UFC?
I think 3 years.
Too long.
Yeah, 3 years.
Those leg kicks would probably give MVP a lot of trouble. Yeah, I would think so too. Because if it does just stay at range, which MVP loves to do, as a matter of fact, he likes to go outside range. He doesn't even like to get in range in the first place. Prates would completely chew up the lead leg. MVP would get finished in that fight. No singular doubt in my mind. And again, Prates is a guy that would bring the fight to him. Those are the guys that will beat MVP. Ian Gary was willing to do it. Sam Patterson was not. And overall, definitely an incredible main event performance from Carlos Prates. Just look at how red Jack Della Maddalena is on this ESPN.
Surprised his leg isn't more red. They messed up that. They messed that up.
Yeah, they should just sub in like a tomato just to show how red he is. But as promised, let's talk a little bit about 328 coming up.
Sure.
First off, if you want to get into the main event, guys, Chimaev and Strickland is going to be crazy, especially when it comes down to the trash talk. Strickland tends to do this with everyone. But if we want to talk about the mental gymnastics without giving away my pick, I think Khamzat is ready for it. I don't think it's going to phase him in the slightest. Strickland doesn't really get through to anyone with this trash talk. When the fight is actually happening in the cage, it's kind of a different story. But his trash talk has always been his biggest weapon per se, but not in the way that you would think. If Strickland does win somehow, how does he do it? He does it by volume. He does it by defending the takedowns, which is, again, easier said than done against Chimaev. We said during the Dricus lead up that, Dricus will defend the takedowns. He's going to goofy max his way to a win. And it didn't happen because Khamzat's just that
Not
good.
even close.
And guys, we've been high on Khamzat Chimaev for a very, very long time. So if that clues you into what our pick is.
Dude, what are you talking about? I'm taking Strickland.
I don't know.
I'm taking Khamzat as of right now, but I probably won't change.
I mean, looking at some props right now, I mean, the over 3.5 at plus 100 is definitely interesting if you do think it goes the distance. If you want Chimaev by finish and it's reasonable odds, just hammer it, I think people are going to be a little bit down on Chimaev after the Dricus fight, which I don't know why. There's nothing in that fight that made me down on him.
Yeah, he was playing with his food.
And he was also kind of just proving to himself that he had the cardio to go 5. And mind you, he was doing that in a championship fight against a guy in Dricus that is absolutely insane. So I don't know how people could be down on Chimaev after that fight. But naturally with MMA, people see a decision and go, oh no. Yep. So I don't know. I just don't really foresee a path for Strickland here, because even if he does defend that first takedown, what is he going to do on the next one? And then what is he going to do on the next one? And then what is he going to do on the I think Fluffy and Khamzat is a very, very different type of beast, because as much as we want to say Fluffy is a volume guy and a guy that comes forward. He didn't take the exact game plan that I thought he would. I thought he would incorporate the grappling a lot more, and it didn't seem like he did. And it is a credit to Strickland's defense, but we'll see if the jab and teep can get it done against Khamzat.
Jab and teep your way to a win, and it's worked a lot for Strickland.
Yeah, I'm not really sure, but obviously the early lean is going to be Khamzat. Let's talk about Van and Tyra. Guys, we've been talking about this fight for quite a bit. Ever since Van beat Pantoja, we've kind of been eyeing Tyra as that next guy. My stance hasn't changed personally. I've always been on the side of Van. I've always been like, I've had my thoughts about Tyra, especially after he finished Moreno. Guys, I have not bet against Van. I just haven't.
I have not picked against him in his.
I don't think this will be the fight. Yeah, I don't think this will be the fight where I do it.
How many fights in the UFC does he have? He's 9-1. I have bet on him 10 times. 10 times.
He just has not let me down.
He has not let us down. I think that obviously the path to victory for Tyra is grappling. He's not hanging with Josh Van on the feet. Tyra is a very good grappler, though. That definitely needs to be noted. Obviously, we didn't see Pantoja be able to grapple. So that still has gone untested. I think that Van, he just brings an interesting style in terms of grit, precise boxing, power, and fearlessness. I mean, he is the fearless.
Fearless.
He lives up to it every time. Like, he does not look phased in the octagon, but it's all coming down to the grappling. It really is. It's kind of exactly like the Khamzat Strickland fight, if I'm being completely honest.
In a way.
In a way. Yeah, not exactly. But I think those are the two overarching points on each fight. Two overarching notes is that I think the grappling will be the deciding factor in both of them.
Yeah, definitely one of the most interesting fights the flyweight division has ever seen, in my opinion, stylistically.
Great. I think it'll be great. I mean, they're
this is an incredible guys. Fight.
Yeah, incredible. It's going to be high level MMA. I wish that I took off work to go see this fight.
I was going to say, you should have.
Of course, the card looked terrible when I had to put in my time, and then I get my schedule, and they add all these sick fights, and I'm like, what are we doing, guys? Come on. Like, they definitely did it because I didn't take off work. So for whoever's going to this card, if you see this, you're welcome. Because the UFC knew didn't take off work for this. And they said, hey, let me load it up. I think one of the best fights, honestly, on this entire card. I think it's the third best fight behind the two title fights. Joel Alvarez versus Yaroslav Amosov. That is going to be an absolute insane fight. Amosov is he was a great Bellator contender. Coming into the UFC, he looked great in his debut. Joel Alvarez, initially a lightweight, has now made the move to welterweight. He had that fight against Vicente Luque where could have finished it. It was a little bit interesting to see the path that he took in that. Overall, dominating win for Joel Alvarez. But against a guy like Amosov, I mean, Alvarez is a great striker, but Amosov brings a different beast in terms of the grappling. So I think that that's going to be a definite fight to watch for the welterweight division. You have a very seasoned guy in Amosov and Alvarez, who is one of the best prospects in the UFC. I think we can still consider him a prospect. He's actually no. He's like
he's had a lot of fights outside the UFC.
Yeah, he's tiptoeing that line, probably more into just a full UFC fighter now. But
no, I agree. It's a fascinating matchup because Joel Alvarez, he spent his entire career as a weight bully. He was at lightweight and he was 6'3" at a 77-inch reach. He was cutting a ton of weight to make 155, and now he's up at welterweight against a proper sized guy. How is that going to change things for him? So I think when we look at the physical side of the matchup, it's definitely pretty interesting. One more note on Van Tyra that I didn't even mention. It's the first ever Asian UFC champion defending against someone who could be the first ever Japanese UFC champion. So it is a historic fight. But no, I do agree. I think Amosov and Alvarez is going to be there's so many good fights on this card. We didn't even talk about Sean Brady and Joaquin Buckley. I know a lot of people are riding with Buckley. And I've seen people 50-50 on this fight. I don't think anyone's really been overwhelming as a favorite. I do see kind of a comparison to the Morales fight here for Brady. Had to tap back in to see the thoughts on Prates and where he is in the top 5 flow states. In the top 5 flow states, he is definitely top 3.
Yeah, I think he's undoubtedly top 3.
I think besides like Max and Ilya, I think Prates would definitely be in that combo. But we're talking about 328 now. So if you have any questions about 328, we're doing a quick little preview before we put out 2 pieces of content on it this week because it's just that good of a card. It's the best card of the year. I'm just looking at this right now. Like this is insane. Bobby Green and Jeremy Stevens.
Interesting that they didn't wait to do Sean Brady versus Buckley in Philly.
That is interesting. But because Brady this was an Apex main, it was an Apex main event before, so they had to get it within the time frame. I bet they're hoping that Brady
wins handily so he can fight
just a quick turnaround, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
Yeah,
it's going to be a grind.
3 months. Yeah, he'd have to take either no damage, which I don't think is happening against Joaquin Buckley, or like a first round sub.
I don't know because Brady's not durable.
I know that's my one thing on this fight. Buckley swings for the fences with a sledgehammer of a fist, and Brady, that chin is getting suspect. And he's the only guy to ever give Bilal Muhammad a TKO victory. So
this is the first legit pay-per-view main event this year. Yes, in the sense that it's the first actual undisputed title fight. Wait, no, Volk. But
yes,
second undisputed title. I think Volk Lopez counts as a legit pay-per-view main event. Obviously, there was concerns about it being a rematch and whatnot, but it depends on your criteria for legit pay-per-view main event.
Wow, wait. There's another guy on this card that could have fought in Philly. Pat Sabatini. Interesting. Yeah. They're not stacking up the Philly, but there is another guy. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent because I really want to go to UFC 330. We're definitely going to see Joe Pyfer in Philly. That is a given.
We will.
Yeah, all right. Back to what you were saying. I cut you off.
Oh, no, I was saying another fight that I'm really interested in. Bobby Green and Jeremy Stevens.
Yes, an unction battle. King Green's on. Oh, my God, Bobby Green. Why'd I say that? I read it again. Bobby Green is he's looking pretty promising.
Wait, what are the odds on Jeremy Stevens?
No, you can't.
Why? I mean, I'm probably gonna pick Bobby Green, but I'm very curious on what the odds are on Stevens.
I'm looking up right now.
Specifically, Stevens.
He's plus 270. I don't know, bro. Bobby Green's looked pretty good in his last few fights. And Stevens is coming back from bare knuckle. I don't know. That's a tough one.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Yeah, who the fuck is that guy? That's
the hardest hitting featherweight, man.
Hardest hitting 145 of all time. This guy TKOs people. When I hit them, they don't fucking move.
He's not on 328, but Kyle Dawkins is on the White House card, so I assume they'll put him on the Philly card. I wonder what they'll do with Dawkins if he beats Nickel. Oh yeah, if he beats Bo Nickel, he's going on the Philly card, for sure, and he'll be on the main card.
Depending on what happens.
I don't think Bo Nickel's going to damage.
No, but I mean, I don't think Bo Nickel's going to accumulate enough damage where he can't make a 2-month turnaround.
Yeah, even if Dawkins loses, I think they'll put him on the Philly card. I agree. Dude, Bobby Green's been chinned before.
Yo, you know what?
Okay, I'm not going to give my official pick. Plus 270 is really good odds on Jeremy.
That is good value. But going back to what Rose said about flow states. Talk about flow state. Bobby Green is a flow state.
Yeah, against Daniel Zellhuber, yeah, but like, I don't know if I'd go that far to say he's a flow state guy. He's awkward. I don't know. He's awkward, but he's not. I think when I think of flow state, I think of guys that are like satisfying to watch fight. Bobby Green does not fit that category for me.
All right, yeah, okay. On that merit, then sure.
That's why, like, I bet you would argue that MVP is a flow state. MVP does not
in Bellator, yeah, not in the UFC. Would you agree with that in Bellator?
Maybe. I'm leaning Tyra, but I'm biased. I like Tyra more than Van. Bet against Van at your own will, guys. I'm not gonna be the one to do it. I'm gonna keep riding with them. Even against Pantoja, I had to side with Van. Other good fights on here. I'll get into one more before we close out the stream. Grant Dawson and Mateusz Rebecki.
Should be a good fight.
This might be my pick for fight of the night, to be honest.
Bruh, no way.
It's Mateusz Rebecki. His last 3 fights have been fights of the night. So
yeah, but Grant Dawson's not a fight of the night guy. I'll make a quick little prediction. I got Rebecki. He's gonna chin Grant Dawson. He's gonna chin him to hell.
Yeah, I don't know. Grant Dawson cannot take a clean shot to save his life.
He's minus one. Grant Dawson's minus 160, and I definitely see line movement on that.
I mean, he's a good wrestler. He has good top control. He'll probably dictate where the fight goes. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'd probably lean Rebecki KO as well. Grant Dawson W from Tyler. I don't know. Like, is Rebecki really going to get out wrestled for 3 rounds? It's going to be on the feet for a good amount of time. You'd have to think Rebecki just catches Grant Dawson at some point.
Yeah, because Rebecki's just going to walk forward like an absolute zombie. And
we did the same thing. We did the same thing with Manuel Torres.
Yeah, I was so high on Manuel Torres in that fight.
Torres was an underdog.
Yeah, he did it he was plus 200. He did it in the first half of the first round. Not saying that Rebecki is Manuel Torres, but he definitely carries the same power as Manuel Torres.
Most MMA YouTubers seem to be picking Van, so I'm nervous.
Oh no, Shrikar, we're mainstream.
We're
mainstream.
Nah, I don't know. I feel like, again, man, I feel like everyone's a little bit lower on Van. Also because of the injury. People don't know how that's going to affect things. I'm not going to lie. I completely get it because you're training for probably the best grappler in the division besides like Pantoja, right? So it's an intense training camp. If you're preparing for that, you're working wrestling around the clock and a minor strain happens. They pushed it a month. He healed up. He's fully prepared. I don't think that's as big of a factor as people want to make it. I do kind of get it that like you may be a little shaky about the injury, but yeah, I think Van gets it done. I think Van gets it done, man.
I've not picked against him.
I could take it a step further and say Van finishes Tyra.
I think that fight's getting finished. It's either Josh Van or knockout or Tyra sub. I don't see it going to decision.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on the double chance when it comes out. We'll check out.
What are the round props in that fight? There are no round props as of right now. At least not on DK.
What's the under? What's the under on the fight? I wonder.
I'm checking FanDuel. Checking the duel.
Only thing that worries me is Van has decent takedown defense and Tyra has to get in close in the pocket to land takedowns where Tyra can hurt him. I mean, I also think like Van is 5'5". He's very small and he's a very stocky. He's very hard to take down. Like taking down Van is much easier said than done. And we haven't really seen anyone do it yet. He went against Ray Saruya, who's a really, really good wrestler in his own right. And he's also Japanese. It's the same style of wrestling, right? Mm-hmm. He can bring him down. I don't think Tyra is going to be able to take Van down, to be honest.
Round props minus over under is 3.5 rounds. Dead even minus 112 minus 112. Fight to go the distance is plus 142. So to not go the distance is minus 180. I think that's a good evaluation. I think it's going to be Van KO or Tyra.
Yeah, I will say I don't know how hard I'm going to bet this fight. I'm kind of just going to watch it for my own amusement. But if I do throw on anything, is Van the underdog?
Or is he plus 150?
Yeah, I'm betting Van here, if anything.
Josh Van by knockout is plus 350. I'd probably just take the money line.
Yeah, if he's already plus 150, but oh my god, that's such a good prop.
That's a bink and a half pending.
Good. But nah, yeah, 328 guys. 328 is going to be a phenomenal card. It's just going to be one of those ones. I always have like not really with fight nights, but with number cards, I always feel like I have a good sense for when a fight night, or what am I saying, for when a main numbered card is going to be a banger. I keep wanting to say pay-per-view, and I have to remember that I can't say pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's not a pay-per-view.
But this is going to be really, really good. Just top to bottom. We can't wait to break this one down. It's absolutely stacked. I believe 10 fights, so not that many, but quality over quantity at the end of the day. I'd much rather you give me 10 amazing fights than 14 shit fights, So obviously flyweight title on the line, middleweight title on the line.
There's 13 fights
on this card. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I miscounted.
Yeah, there's four early prelims, 4 prelims, and then 5 main card fights.
Oh, I'm tripping, guys. It's midnight. It's late. But even that, with this main event, we're gonna get into it when we talk about Strickland tomorrow when we record this. This main event has been generating more heat than anything I can remember in a long time, and that tends to happen with Khamzat fights. The hype is always ridiculous surrounding his fights. You look at the Dricus fight and the build up towards that. I think the Strickland fight is going to be even greater. I'm very excited for this main event.
Khamzat's the fire and Strickland is the gasoline that's getting poured right on it.
Literally. I mean, that is going to be a generational press conference. And the very next day we get the White House press conference with every single White House fighter, which is going to be something to behold. We go from Khamzat and Strickland on one day to Josh Hokett and Derek Lewis on the next. But yeah, Chris, any final thoughts before we peace out of the stream?
Nah, I think Perth was a good card. Prates is absolutely insane. Yeah, some promising uprisers in the UFC in each division. Featherweight division put on notice. It's going to be one of the premier divisions in the UFC, and it already is. But yeah, really like this new wave of fighters coming into the UFC. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm excited to break down 328 this week and get you guys some good content.
Yep, it's going to be a big week. Again, guys, we have a video on Sean Strickland coming out right before our picks are going to go out. So we'll have those 2 videos out for you this week. Make sure you like up the stream if you haven't. Follow the socials down below. Thank you guys for tuning in. We love you guys. You guys are awesome. We will see you next time. Peace out from the War Room.